You can tell by my tires that not everybody who's driven with me is still alive. Also, that I like my drinks neat, bottled, and in a bus stop. Also, that we're drowning in precinct paper, department store floor plans, and applications to the moon. We can change the color of our snot from gifted to heart attack and tell you about ashes, but where all these angels coming from smelling like the cigarette that fills. And why is the man on the safe side, these headlights freezing up? You got nothing to say at my funeral, I'll speak on your behalf. Heroin in my smile. Mountain made of flatland robbery. Among some things on my mind, the last store run in the name of shared afterlife. Friday to the filter on my tall tale on earth. But here's to that angel that never appeared to America. In a night of dog paddle. And a batch of hangovers looking for a home. You know, a liar wouldn't have lived this long. That's my humor when fences speak. Holding a pair of rambling dice that got unique tempers and young souls to say, shut up about our city. Here tidal months crash over a coast while I lie. The street's teeth are in pieces. There's reservoir art on the faces of stragglers. There's sad news from back home that mean we have to grow up on his behalf. Stumble back to a car full of last stand. The truth is stale but still liquor. Mission Street would be proud of me. I'm a mural man, almost organized. Remember when my lungs would wake up last? Walking all morning if it was worth it? I'm 3 decades homeless. And reservoir art is all I ever see. And I'm 2,000 miles from my first fight. Maybe no one really survived. Maybe I wrote my first poem for no reason. There were hammers in my cradle, which made some people scared to check on me. Because God would have a devil, and State Street would have a resurrection, and I would be a menace to veins that the city protects with precinct flesh. You know, people actually work and marry here. The sun actually comes up. Have you heard the one about ghetto dwellers? Bang, they all duck. Well, look what the heathen drug in, man. What is that, my bullet? Who is that, your son? Have you heard the one about last names? Did you know that late night talk is the car door to the soul? I don't think we've been here before in some type of criminal heaven, controlling every headlight for miles that the journey has pain. It's the way I came. My name is on this sea. Royalty among mimes would be my right hand, or it'd be a brand new hammer, a wolf traveling at the speed cities in. Interpretations of shot men. You know, hands are the only place souls are actually found. And fish get a road trip too. Maybe you should remind me. Or maybe I paid too much attention to this black coat as I was growing up in a wrong lit room. At least the walls was nice, guys. At least I had to see. At least I got this ocean when the words freezing central time is up. When my family relapses into suicidal neighborhoods and can't depend on me. When black children are sad. When there are guns everywhere. When death is here and I'm a new kind of nearsighted. And she's a new kind of lovely death is. Right, so front yard passes, people getting beat up. I say, I'm not paranoid enough. You got a taste for violence. I've winked at 3 funerals. The Lord gave his only begotten temper to me. Death knows me by nickname. I call it nothing cute. Lord, let me see the enemy in my circle. See, let me see that the enemy is my circle. Let my circle kill me. Let me not stay dead. See, I know I am down to the street signs, man. Streets pass my life back and forth. Pass me under gambler jokes and cigarettes, and here I am thinking this is what you call driving at night, or this is what you call 35 miles away, freeway and all smeared all over the city. Tell me, how you write letters with a building on top of your head, with a building feasting on you, with 1,000 backs turned to your kids, without a subtle gesture to interpret in the middle of a backfired resurrection with a president who was out to kill you. We only got one gun to speak of still. I sleep good in August and nobody talks back in traffic. An interestingly handsome bastard had to match a violent song to me. I'm like a hi-hat on its own motherless. No less of a child. Projectiles become tires, choirs suck down liquor. 5 floors become audience for a dancing killer. You just a dancing killer. Midwater walk, outline all over the state. I've seen a bullet become a cheapskate. Bodies in a bargain, handsome but hardened. Prison air, Spanish sales, black as well. Run, tell about my level and what you seen me do to water and what you seen me do to men. The last of a dying group of friends should another city end. You know, when a drummer is present, they are God. I am not an I am a black communist. I'm writing my new tattoo out on bus station glass, making tattoos all afternoon, trying to talk myself into seeing the decade through. I must really be the devil's front man, staring at an empty bus that I imagine in fact carries paintings of people, and the man drunk behind the wheel has to choose between a black and white toddler after school in America on a California street that doesn't need a name nor California. No one on the street has a job and therefore no one is there. I colored my oppressor's gun and dance floor form in the same day. The joke began. The walker in the bus seats is fine by me as long as I get to the front. The joke concluded. And Tuesday is rotten soup or downhill entertainment, commotion in the ashtray, or the day the jail quotas get filled, or the day that the planet plays flat. Maybe the capitalist sets stadium seats on fire and calls it economic progress. The communist has plenty of time to finish his cigarette and lie to his boss. A killer lying down in front of a tank. I have a small statue built in my chest and also an anchor upside down in the air. Worried about the walls, I forgot that the ceiling was closing in on me too. That's my take on my alcoholism. I'm hunched over a meal I ate 5 years ago. Let's take on the look on my face. And cursed God a little, took another step up the staircase, and for a second forgot all occupants of the world, beginning with this house. An action hero of one street proportion. Rap music is the way to count blessings. The 80s were better than this fiction. I would be half-eaten my entire life. I have a piece of fence meshed through my skull, always walking beside myself with a gun in my head and another one pointed at passers-by. Half of me, all of you, walking in and out of myself, but I'm always happy to see you. What a miraculous route you took through my threat. Honest pay is a knife in my arm. Honest pay, broken lock on the monument. To tell you the truth, I forget what my hands look like or what I did with them or what kind of third eye the handcuffs cut into my wrist. Apparently too much of San Francisco was not there in the first place. This dream requires more condemned Africans. Or put another way, state violence rises down. Or still life is just getting warmed up. Or army life is looking for a new church and ignored all other suggestions. Or folktale writers have not made up their minds as to who is going to be their friends. This is the worst downtown yet. And I've borrowed a cigarette everywhere. I've taken many a walk to the back of a bus that led on out the back of a storyteller's prison sentence, then on out the back of slave scars, but this is my comeback face. I left my watch on the public bathroom sink and took the toilet with me. I threw it at the first bus I saw eating single mothers half alive. It flew through the bus line number and on out the front of the White House. And hopefully you find comfort downtown, but if not, we brought you enough cigarette filters to make a decent winter coat. A special species of handshake lets all know who's king and what's a lifespan of uniform cloth. This coffin needs to quit acting like those are birds singing. You know, rusty nails have no wings, man, have no voice other than that of a white world dying. Their book pages in the gas pump, catchy, isn't he? The way 3 nooses is the rule, or the way potato sack masks go so well with radio codes, or the way condemned Africans fought their way back to the ocean, only to find waves made in 1920s burnt up piano parts, European backdoor deals, and red flowers for widows who spent all day in the sun mumbling in San Francisco. Red flowers, but what's the color of a doctor visit? There are book titles in the streets. You know, book titles like Hero, You Make a Better Zero, or A Fur Coat Lady, The President is Dead, or Pay Me Back in Children, or They Hung Up Their Bodies in Their Own Museums, and other book titles pulled from a drum solo, Run Here, Hero, Lied to Hiding Place. All the bullets in 10 precincts know where to go. Ain't no heaven nor any other good idea in the sky. Politics means that people did it and people do it. Understand that when in San Francisco and other places that was never really there. I bet this ocean thinks it's an ocean. But it's not. It's just 6th and Mission Street. All know who's king. King of thin things. You know, like America, I'm proud to deserve to die. I'm gonna eat my dinner extra slow tonight in this police state candy dispenser you all call a neighborhood. No set of manners goes unpunished. Never mind a murderer's insomnia, or the tea kettle preparing everyone for police sirens. Guided by teeth goes this country. There's a cow's mouth on the flag. A peculiar notepad holds street life dear, but the writer's not here. He's somewhere talking to tombstones about the good old days, or splashing reborn water on his latest face, or wondering how his old gun is doing in the afterlife, wondering how much death trap is in those gas station hours. It gotta be $1 million a day on this concrete island. New engine in the moon, while it never goes down, 72 straight hours of night, at least according to everyone's posture around here, 8:30 in the morning is really 30 minutes to closing. The city shuts down for a sleepy rap race. Elevator shoe shuffle to the nearest heaven. Laughing with rats the whole way up, and scabs everywhere. In puddles of city, in concentrated schools, in TV-lit warm rooms, the light reveals military fatigue when it hits just right. On the ties that are wrapped around the necks of lazy white guys. Empire is too easy, baby. Chant at the walls all summer if you feel like it. Let's wait for a target to move and shooting back, running for a tree line made of freeways. Wisdom says against a war machine on Tuesday, you stand no chance, but may we be the last poor men to play it safe. Cow's mouth on the flag. A politician raises his hand, and the crowd shows their teeth. An oligarch raises his hand, little girls are not safe outside. You are all high, depressed, and comrades in function. 15 minutes of closing in the city has survived another rebellion. We just paying dues by trash fires, not just anybody can set. And don't you love how deadly things whisper in the moment and people kill like feathers fall, everybody screaming inside? The writer knows that death is not a matter of dignity, rather humor. In a house that smells like roach races, nuclear percentages on torn stoves, here life never was. Just lazy matches and manic inhumanity, hands rushing away from life towards stoves. Man, what we doing here? Surviving, for no reason in particular, because nobody gone far today. Nobody will go far tomorrow. Trust me, hell and heaven cannot count. Strange gardens where secondhand clothes play and concrete wishes to be human so they could be accountable, where they find you drenched and drains wish to be human so that they could be worthy arms for you to die in. Greet them all, grandson. Prepare for the day when every child is common. Don't say we ghosts didn't write you a poem. Don't say we didn't dig your life. Remember the shotgun by the coat rack that everybody in the house knows how to use? Remember the tightrope made of needles for walking in between driveways and man-made best friends? Go ahead, grandson, tune this street again. Never mind, this country kills musicians first. Broken neck night, scar neck life. If these walls could write lyrics, they say, what's your angle, angel eyes? 30 to 50 rounds pass by on a street with no daughters. This street has no sons. It's young prisoners of war in a racist city that means to make capital. And we know so much. We know it all. We were stood against walls. Who's on the third cross around here? Cow's mouth, salivating over the street. And that is the story of why we aim at teeth. We had the funeral in the garage, but I think he was long gone. A narrator on distant rooftops smoking with new friends. From beyond the visual skyline, serious footwork can be seen. Especially when loose acquaintances look at the candles and flowers with opera violence on their minds, introducing you to the colony when the concrete was in its prime and not for shuffles. 2 different days share the same day. Like we slow walk from the corner store into a flashback, Dust doing most of the talking about weird wars on the streets and whoever's fixing the drinks tonight. Whoever is must be suicidal, man. It's a chessboard underneath these tough guys. From beyond the visual's jungle is the easy side of autobiography. A pretty interesting place to start a war from. Front yards are for having problems with the world. And it's an easy range for the angel of everything under the sun. That's right. I can cut my throat with the sun. Hold your breath on my street if that's what you've always done. I tell you what his eyes say. They say all dust eventually has to be human. In his pockets is winter already, knuckles and wrist and sign. In street green letters, here lies in half asleep young skin, a tattered page 1. Page 1, all staircases are open, air will be the first to talk with the poor, so will it. Page 2 is his pieces of subtitle, mouths talk last. Page 3, someone's dead already. Somebody's taught him a sign. Page 4, every system is suicidal, the poor, so will it. Buzz loops its root, last stop already. Let me sleep again, it's all staircase here, and I remember when we was eye to eye with the lowest branch, crying breath into the hand of an avenue, or clothes made somewhere in the land of first hand. Trash wasn't yet trash, running away never really is running away. Shoes would witness an informal prayer, something like that. I know you see me, what should I call you? I'll never be anything you need to forgive. And we've been through heaven years ago. Heaven becomes our street shoulders, which are his, which is a homegrown cadence on a city bus, rubber and brief eyes. He was the Saint of Strays, you know. The first story you learned in San Francisco. Moving with Slider Street, which is his. My little brother slides, the smoke says still. You know, a lot of God can happen in 3 seconds, but not much heaven though. Here's a man before a fight. You know, leave me alone type character emerging from the penniless depth of a one-way street fiction. That's just a fancy way of saying I'm gonna make it even if I gotta drive backwards. You know, all I got is chord changes and 1,000 backhands. Driving the street like I'm choking in a car full of nephews. Hasn't been a sun since November, and there hasn't been a street I can't choke to death. The city better back down. Hey, you see this gun on the table and something about staring until it all feels stable? Why wouldn't I protect everyone on my death sleep late? My son better be quick. My daughter better shoot first, because see, we fall for no one. You know, we fall for nothing. Okay, the first thing you'll feel is the heat. This lady would tell me, telling me about possession. You know, drink like neat is what I'm mostly hearing. Most of the world leaves me alone. To breathe smoke like a giant. To go to jail every once in a while when a genocide kicks up in late May, when politicians have too easy a time. I'm gassing backwards out a one-way street in honor of myself. And in honor of you, if you understand the nature of the world. And how long I've been just like my father, one hell of a resemblance says the anxiety of the neighborhood. This is Crossroads narrative. So much crossroads, they get in the habit of turn back only to find themselves remembering me, but not my last words. A man before a fight should feel the heat. But there's nothing to keep in mind. There's nothing to remember, shit, and nothing to be, just this moment, then another, then stare, then it all becomes stable, then the table legs go fussy, and Friday's an unfamiliar face peeking in the window. It's cool to panic for a second. Composure is wasted on your worst enemies. You know, people are marked on that sidewalk. You're the only thing life-size. Everybody knows this in a wire hanger empire. When the blood stops walking, that feeling isn't father enough to be permission to fold. You better swing one more time. That father of yours rose from the grave and said, just give me 5 more minutes. He said, running water is a myth. It's us who are running up, down, and all alongside this water. And people don't rise from the grave. They not laid down neither. It's us who flip all around their bodies. So beware when the people around you all look like they about to jump. It might be your time. See, you'll feel the heat. And when 4 walls demand to be 4 walls and the earth outside mutes, don't panic. You know, don't try to recreate the earth outside. Don't tell jokes to yourself. Don't even talk disrespectfully to the 4 walls. Instead, unclench your fists and walk away. There might be heaven if you understand the nature of the world. From a 2-floor skyline and abandoned house, talk to me. They say, young man, you are heroic and 10 years old. Among 20 generations of friends. You know, friends will free fall away, they'll free fall up, they'll free fall the walls with 5th grade speed. To industrial paint, behind secondhand fences, young men use quick 9 tones. Be bone and brass, be last left music, you are always leaving. Always want to change your clothes from the door, life and escape. A 2-floor skyline said you're the guy that dies in the middle. The friend more blues than skin. The face that cheap hotel schizophrenics can place with 90 miles per hour bright eyes among dry heat killers once children. 3 feet high and roaming and repeating and aiming at cotton mirrors and hang on breathing walls. You were 10 years old. Tagging along, yawning at welded violence, whistling 2-shop songs. You would be useful. You would be high and alone. Flying on a nephew dragon from the $20 family in the sky that calls itself just more soil around walls, and it's just walls, except these walls suggest you make wives out of highs and currency. Here the air is polite to sleepy glass and bullying walls, you know, young man, you will come to admit you will come to admit that sometimes suicide is power. Because some people live stronger as ghosts, and sometimes the afterlife empties. Billions of souls enter objects like playground bullets and abandoned door frames. Even broken glass will prove it has voice too. There are 24 hours behind your back. Look over your shoulder right now. Can you hear the sound of drums punching themselves out? The sound of piano parts learned in between assassination attempts. Be bone and brass, be bone enough for two souls be invincible again. Suffer red-eyed accents, professional fingertips. Gifted victim, 6 in the morning, beer the first month of probation, and shout at the wall, see these words that shouldn't be home. Look behind you again, be invincible again, be windward, be a sad machete, be her son, be a thief, steal his back, laugh too long, and never look away. The afterlife will empty and walk you home. I'm off to make a church bell out of a bank window. And kitchens meant more to the masses back in the day, and before that we had no enemy. Somewhere in America, the prison bus is running on time. You want to lose that job before the revolution hits. Somewhere I won't be home for breakfast. Everyone out here now knows my name, and I won't be turned against for at least 4 months. The cop in the picket line is a hard-working rookie. The sign in my hands is getting more and more laughs. It says the picket line got cops in it. I can take care of those windows for you if you want, but someone else got to go inside your gas tank. It was clear to the man that rich people had talked too much this year. Why don't you go ahead and throw down that marble park bench everyone's looking up at, get the Romans out of your mind. And maybe a good night's sleep would have changed the last 20 years of my life, playing the instruments like punching the wall. What would you have me do? Replace the population? Give brotherhood back to the winter? Stop smoking cigarettes with the barely dead? They listen in on the Sabbath. Police called the police on me. There was a white candlestick beneath my detention. I ruined the soup again, thought the judge as he took off this pilgrim robe behind the white people's door and more. I didn't get lucky, I got what was coming to me. He told, they fight me back, the man said. Of course to himself, washing windows with a will to live, tin can on his left shoulder, enjoying the bright brand new black with all party goers, both supernatural and supernaturally down to earth. What is this elevator traveling side to side? Like 1,000 good Polaroid pictures that you actually try to eat. All the furniture on this street now to the cement, cheap furniture, but we have commitment. And this morning an essay opens the conversation between enemies. Why? Because you control every grain of processed sugar between here and the poor man's border. Because in the tin can on my left shoulder, I can hear the engines of deindustrialization. You should get in the painting, tell lies more deeply. And this month I'm rooting for the traitor. Carting cement to my pillow, here we will build them high again, not talking much. And once you climb up the organ pipe to our apartment floor, I'm high again, calling everything church, singing along to a courtyard, thanks to a horn player's holy pastime. I'm just putting a real jacket on it. Talk about a real 5 years. Keep memories like these in the pocket next to the toll receipt. That man lost a wager with the God of good causes. Stood up for himself a little too late. Shit, maybe too early. I can still see 20 angles of his jaw zigzagging through the cold world of deindustrialization. There's an art to it. I will tell my closest friends one day, a tour guide through your robbery, he also is. Cigarette saying, look what I did about your silence. Ransom water and box spring gold, this decade is only for accent grooming, I guess. Ransom water and box spring gold, the corner store must die. War games, I guess. All these tongues from his junk. The start of mass destruction begins and ends in restaurant bathrooms that some people use and other people clean. You telling me it's a rag in the sky? Waiting for you, yes. We've written the scene, we set a stage, we should have fit in. Warehouse jobs are for communists, but now more corridor and hallway have walked into our lives. Now the whistling is less playful and the barbed wire overcrowded too, my dear. If it is not a city, it is a prison. If it has a prison, it is a prison, not a city. When the courtyard talks on behalf of military issue, all walks take place outside of the body. Dear life to your left, a medieval painting to your right. None of this really makes an impression. Crop people living in thin air, you had 5 minutes to learn how to see through this breeze. When a mask goes sideways, barbed wire becomes the floor, barbed wire becomes the roof, 40 feet into the sky becomes out of bounds. When a mask breaks in half, man, mind which way the eyes go. They killed the world for the sake of giving everyone the same backstory. We're watching Gary, Indiana fight itself into the sky, man. Old pennies for wind, for that wind feeling you get, but for the hood goes up and over your headache. Pennies that stick together, mocking all aspirations. Stuck Together Pennies was the first newspaper I ever read, along with the storefront dwelling army that always lets us down with it. Where the Holy Spirit favors the backroom, souls in a situation that offer 100 ways to remain a loser. Souls watching a clock, hoping their eyes don't lie to sad people. What are we talking about here? The narrator asked the graveyard, 10 minutes flat, said the graveyard. The funeral only took 10 minutes. And never tell that to anyone again. You just gonna pin the 90s on me? All 30 years of them? Then why should I know the difference between sleeping satire, the pyramid of corner stores fell on our heads? We died right away. Shit, that building wants to climb up and jump off another building. These are downtown decisions. Somewhere on this planet, it's August 7th, and we running down the rust thinking one more needs to come with me. What evaporated on Earth? What evaporated on Earth so that we could be sent back down? Capitalists eating till the world is blurry to them. These streets are made of saliva. Some people are made of saliva too. They usually got on uniforms. Crazy man spins round and round trying to make a record out of this mass production jungle. Maybe I'll join them. Count cash and cry. The streets are made of saliva and white sheets are worn by a building in which kids are supposed to learn how to read well. White sheets on the highway too. Another mirror needs their head on the pipe. One down is just one down. You tell all this to the masses and your teacher will pipeline you. And they told me I was jewelry. They told me this is jungle. Maybe not jungle, more like 50 machine guns planted in the ground. It's raining faces again in California. What does it say about heaven? What does it say about the people you killed? Waiting lines got so exhausted, a million minds dropped all these faces at once. If the fascists can read the lips of a giant talking in his sleep, we might as well make our demands in prison letters. Today was born the most important trigger finger in the world. Today I begun to count down the pages between now and a pile of books by a tunnel. And Chicago is going to walk out of Chicago one day. Babies will drag street signs like old toys. Today, the most important letter left prison. Babies will laugh at flags like faces that have disappeared. Maybe I'll join them. But for now, these streets are made of saliva, and we raise handful of glasses to the basements that meant nothing. And the working poor who live there, we get shot. We get white sheets on California where the kitchen table likes to talk as much as the walls, and romance on the porch consists of hard residing. I mean, in this picture, characters talk split and know they hard to kill. The kitchen table knows this. The porch is almost convinced that one down is just one down. This town is coming to town. A circus watching itself, half distracted, half suicidal. Thrilled children dressed as cops. Thrilled children preaching and policing and intaking and hiring and snatching your money. This town's coming to town with tough trademarks to follow. Today, I watch capitalism walk on water and people play dead so that they could be part of a miracle. Capitalists dropped 10 tons of barbed wire onto my Tuesday shift. We shot back at the chimpanzee pilot for the sport. The contractor's already smoked 3 cigars only 1 hour into my court appearance shift. Supervisor likes the smell, says it reminds him of when he ran the streets, and all I remember is we shot back. A gated puppet dances along, bars and jigs, says I'm the happy one of Legion. Meanwhile, kids commit childhood behind his wooden plastic joints. Wire dodgers under this silly puppet. A silly puppet dancing for white heaven. Like weapon is the jacket and precinct holds Friday hostage. We go through a fossil jaw to see a judge. The tunnel at the end of the light. I sleep until woke by dry cereal and surrender. This holding cell only needs a giant panhandler's palm to shake us coin men around. I'm breaking my fingers for my sister's bill collectors. Garage casket open, I mean all third world parallels kill openly. Breaking my lungs for my sister's rent. On the sculpted construction desk, I miss cigarettes by mid-morning. I miss Hennessy by sundown. I miss murder by inches. $5 bills cherish my days outside, always behind. Ain't no concentration in this courtroom. Just a bunch of B+ students living out their nightmares. How do I plead with a straight face? 2 blocks up is a recurrent cliff, along with slavist paraphernalia, along with an ordinary panhandler, along with ethnic parade history, along with the ethnic parade, along with 13th graders. But let's talk about the fact that 4 dead children later, I still don't have a problem beating you up in front of everybody. Let's talk about the fact that money is debt. Down to my last $5 is what I call this shoe. 10 o'clock political education is what I call this dream. I got the job is what I call this blues. 2 days later is what I call a cliff. first cigarette makes this parking lot my bedside. The second cigarette makes this parking lot my front pocket. Next, I hold the witness like a newborn, though half-hearted. Brittle teeth by my art, watch how we talk in depopulated circles. You caught me, said the hangman to the condemned. You caught me red-handed, but the hangman's hand kept moving nevertheless. Biting flags, eastbound, and other familiar sound effects, a revolutionary would call us a landless fire. The night train agrees that these are my keys. I'm just admiring your fabric, Lord. My art is rational, therefore my life is in danger. Traveling up the tab this time, and it looks like water was never here, just jail noise, and the jail noise politicians speak. You know, this world is weak, lost its graffiti too many times. I tell the witness all characters are in motion, regardless of what that day did to your disposition. I also left that piece of good news in the ashtray next to my nickname. Every room has a kitchen in it. Every life has company to feed. Every room has a rumble in the corner, 8th grade heroin in my hand, along with pieces of an uncle of purgatory grease fire got us worried. A phone rings in 1988 and the epoch begins when a mother hangs up. This is not writing poems. This is wishing carloads well. And here comes the tap water whistling past our heads. Institution tile under brake pedals matching white watches painted on palms for smash and grab recollections. People who are related by ballot. Hot plate failures fishing for proletarians. The matchstick that's a draft card by the time the loaner finishes sweeping the train. Also related by ballot. Underpaid streets hanging like strips of film in thin air. I miss the carpentry more than the religion. I tore the tattoo out my uncle's picture and lent it to my friends, one left cross at a time. Life mine behind my back. They say the child will do better upside down. The child's cake party is in the precinct. A mainstream tune playing upside down. T-shirt with their face on it printed on the cop's thumb, you know. 28 hours later, a headrest will do. The city brain feels like clientele. I dozed on the back of a bus and woke in the mind of a 3-story man. God wants you here with this crowbar in your hand. All of the world is a 3rd floor. Seasons invent themselves, but we invent the underground. Cause and effect is nothing but a casual venue I once played. He decided not to kill me like giving loose changing. Don't teeter now, tall man. I was nobody at point blank range. Nobody finally again. Lump first, I felt a love, then a rule, then a hate. Dance moves within murder attempts within dance moves. Lean back and be celebrated by small people, he said. The clothes on my life teacher needed new patches. And sit back and disrespect it all. I've given up on counter-revolution, I said. Well, shit, well then here's your weapon, little bank. And that's our father you writing graffiti on. Horn players beat him up and everyone left the altercation a better person. Knowing what you know now, would you still have written fortunes on the bottom of church shoes and put them back on the rack? How does everyone think that a rich guy is their twin along with other tantrums? Is my cute fortune teller. Half sleeps. While talking about a mayor treading all over the posters in my childhood room and how cold calculation mothers nothing and a vision of chess pieces and chains. He says, then, my friend, you will have fear. And then you will have form. You know, if you reverse the car any farther, you will run over all the scenes in the back of your mind. I never really cared for teachers, just the patterns of their fainting spells. Induced by wall art. I mean, all I'm trying to say is propaganda is courage. The price sticker hides my tattoo. I treasure my problem with the world. My mother becomes from Brooklyn first thing in the morning. That's a proverb around these parts. A proverb or a peasant entrance password. Writing short notes to famous Europeans on the back of postcards with ransom requests. They reply with a newsreel or a cigarette announcement. I can't tell the difference. Noble dollars, then you die inside. But only inside. They call it sleeping deeper than your stalker. Stalker's all that badge makes you. Says a great spirit dressed in the bloody rags tuxedos became. Meanwhile, my punch is feared by no one. Proud of yourself? I asked my fret hand. Porch lights is what they call our guns. I've seen this house in a dream. I believe a trumpet was the first possessed object to fly. And keep going, she cheers. The draft in the room becomes a toddler. Toddler obsessed with an altar. The altar becomes a runaway train. You know, I got 1,000 paintings like these cascading down my skinny arms. Dictionaries piled up to the window bars. A reminder to the population that your blanket can work with or against you. Human reef. We will be a big human reef for concepts that finally gain a metaphysical nature and they will swim around our beautiful poses. We stopped being flashbacks and stopped being three different people, then I was alone. The pistol, one city away. One of the drug triangle's lines runs through my head. I tapped the bottle twice and considered the dead refreshed. And don't you want to rest your bravery? And don't you want to be a coward for a little bit? Back and forth to a panic attack with no problems nor fears. A man gets a facial expression finally, and Friday finally goes his way. His life is finally talked about happily in his head. Man, I can't possess the body of a hermit. I must be the last of his smoke now, running the other way with 3 blocks of alley tucked under my arms. Hey, you ever see a man get to the bottom of his soul in a car ride down a missing cousin street? Half step to the right. I took the whole car outside of history. Half step to the right. A whole pack of wolves step to my left. Road marker is what I call the light bulb we have for a sun. A whole civilization might slink to the sink or a chain gang shuffling next to a sucker, also known as the lone look in the mirror. Stack of money starts talking from 4 cities away. I'm the son of a hospital room. In a world of bedpans, water does not know its own. I strain to hear every narrator that's in the room. They are the cycling ships in his face. A sideless supernatural. His faces, the strain and strain, collapse and shoot, freeze and fade, wander in and wander away. I say, man, let's live this hour with no meaning. I'm a son, he is a finish. I think this being more for you than for me, I say, and we smile. Like water would. What I know now, there was a dark red Sunday sitting under that Wednesday afternoon. A dark red Sunday, a wolf wearing mild skies. What I know now, Chicago streets collecting guard souls. Sons respect their last breath fathers. Fathers pass away in between 2 conversations. I know our blood is 1,000 bullets here. We are skin and edge. Fast hands, punched rivers, prison canvas, strange leaves. We agree, or organize, with name, more prison, more canvas. I should talk to his ghost with a prison pencil. Grew up watching sketch women and men turn and walk away from a foreground cardboard can look that deep. 43rd Street collected souls. Pops, as you travel where light means a little less and home perhaps more, The any man that suits you. Shift, low air, kneel in a hurricane, splash a bending image over your face, perhaps an image of us. Walk east, I guess, eat hurricane, let this lonely love you. Do not sing, do not understand, do nothing for now. Perhaps see us again. My brother and I are driving in an empty cell lane, and we God's evil to these settlers. They might throw us under the shift change. We take wolf naps. We don't know what else we good at besides just traveling. State lines in the night tide, passing through beachhead America, passing with hurricane memory, 3,000 exits of sludge-bathed apartheid. You know, everything south of Canada is extrajudicial gun oil in your local unemployment factory. In a few hours, we will fit in, so we relax for now. Hop out the car, and I am a dirty shoe illusion, leaning on the trunk with the ghosts of switchblades and other rusty services. I am enemy humor in traveling. Father's ashes on the back seat, behind two sons in a lane not for metaphor. That may be a metaphor about something unfinished. 1 million hands passing us through the Midwest. Last wishes by way of fishtail, daydreams by way of collision. Home in the badlands of translation. Relaxed passing, great-grandparents' finger bones, father's ashes, no longer arms, just tattoos. Badlands imagination, barreling, translating a father's last trip home. We don't know what else we're good at besides just traveling. Exits in collage, exits in pieces. Pieces of 1970s kitchen plates in a good luck refrigerator we still ain't ate. The narcotic swing of how we see yesterday. Get out the car against desperate white supremacy. Gas station greetings, stray dogs, and other earthborn alarms, we are straight deadly. Against desperate white supremacy and other senses that die silly and murder. I don't know what else we good at besides just traveling. You know, 2 coins of the toll is us. Character interstate on a journey of a million parallels. Some like me better high, some like me better drunk. Every late night has a summer to it, cousin breeze and murder rate. Your ancestors are smiling as we pass the time. When we ride this language, past Gary 3000, a stomach with cast iron lining, and proud forearms for meals. A 3-man ghost story, fishers of ourselves, cards dealt, narrative implied, maybe something unfinished, like an Indiana hurricane, or 2 midnights in Milwaukee, or no arms, no tattoos, no Chicago ever again. We don't know what else we get at besides this traveling shit. And besides, heaven is all goodbyes anyway.
Hey, how y'all feel about that right there? We want to do something. Remember one thing? We want to
Facilitate, my brother.
so listen. As y'all can see, Brother Tongo is extremely talented with these words. It's a gift. And what we envision is that these words penetrate you, you know? that they penetrate your mind, your soul, you know, and we want to see reciprocation when we walk out the doors, you know. Anytime we walk in a place where art is being exchanged, you know, you never want to walk out the same, you know, as you came in. Knowing that, we also know that everyone brought something in here with them. Could have been something positive, could be something negative, could be something that somebody's struggling with. And we actually wanted to extend an opportunity to you to just maybe be vulnerable for a moment and throw out a word that might be deep in you today. Just throw it out there, because we know we came here to heal, even our own selves, you know. We bring in things and we want to heal. We know that our gift is for the people, is for healing, is for encouragement, is for power, is for movement. And if there's anybody in here that's willing to be vulnerable, because that's part of the first step of any type of healing, is being vulnerable and opening up so that the healing can begin. All right? So we just want to throw some words out there. Just put them out there. Put them out there. Maybe a word that you've been carrying. Maybe something that you've been carrying all summer, all year, or since you was 7 or 17. Seriously, that's real talk. It's real talk. Don't be shy. I didn't say be shy. I didn't mention shyness at all. Throw the words out there. Throw them out.
Precarity.
Shyness, security, yeah. Keep going.
Shame.
Inspection.
Pain.
Pain. That's real. Poverty, that's real. Just let them go. Just go. Go.
Concern.
Hurt. Pressure. Fatigue.
Stress. Money. Tired. Unwillingness.
Familia.
Savoir.
Listen.
Excitement. Blue.
Touch.
Fire. Gratitude. Baby.
Perseverance.
Frustration.
Resolution.
Isolation.
Reticence.
Community. Consistency.
Bias. Collusion.
Mirror.
Help.
Agency.
Yeah. Introspection. Patience.
Soul. Journey.
Legacy.
Soulful. Gratitude.
Feeding. Gratefulness.
Selfishness. Change.
Selfless.
Worth. Leadership. God.
Prayer.
Hunger.
Float.
Prose.
Fear. Blood. Brain. Power.
Light.
Impeachment. Mom. Love.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Relationship.
Relationship.
birth,
laughter,
travel,
joy.